Welcome to Let's Play Populous, the beginning. The blank video it'll start having an image in there in a minute. I just wanted to go ahead and do the intro before I started the game. Populous, the beginning is a game from the late 90s which combined two game genres in a way that nobody else had, to my knowledge, really done, and nobody has done since, combining the real-time strategy genre with the God game genre. One of the big issues I've had with God games in general is partly the AI, but the game design is difficult because you had global range on spells, so there was a lot of issues with creating a real difficulty while also not having the AI be a piece of work. Black and White was a God game that tried to fix this problem by adding a range based off the amount of, quote, faith that you had from a specific village. Populous took this idea and combined it with real-time strategies, and namely how in many real-time strategies, such as Command and Conquer, you have champion units, which also spawned the MOBA genre, but I'm not going into that because this isn't a MOBA video. Populous took this idea, and you have a real-time strategy tribe with a character, the shaman, who is basically the champion unit. The shaman is also, like in Black and White, the center for your range for your spells, which, giving you a mobile character that can cast spells, combined the two genres rather well. And to this day, I'm still kind of confused as to why nobody else has really done this. Nonetheless, the game is considered a cult classic, and even though the Bullfrog as a company has gone out and their multiplayer servers are down, people have actually begun and still host an active multiplayer community for this game. So like System Shock 2, it's one of those older games that still maintains a very active community. I also found a program that will force it into window mode for the sake of my screen resolution, because 800 by 600 is the maximum it will let me run it at without using external programs to force it into higher resolutions. And I didn't really see the point in dealing with image distortion when I could just run it in its native resolution in a window. But I'm going to go ahead and start the game. It didn't ask me about the tutorial. Huh. Usually it asks about the tutorial. I'm hoping it will play the intro video. If not, this will be a little bit odd. Okay, it's not going to play the intro video. I will upload a... Actually, I'll put a link in the description. If there's somebody else has already uploaded the intro video, I will put a link in the description to it. If I can't find a link to the video for the intro, I will upload an intro video. But since I can't jump cut, I will look into that after this. So, this is the first level. Gonna have to reorient myself with the controls a little bit. Okay, the shaman, as long as you have followers, will, if they die, respawn in the reincarnation site each time, with a certain amount of time passing before they reincarnate. That is the enemy shaman, and this is the intro level. Well, not the intro level, the first level, so it's rather simplistic and short. That is a vault of knowledge, that is a stone head. Also new to the RTS, since this combined with RTS, is the ability to warp the terrain. Let's see if I remember the keys for this. Okay, there we go. Select all. I'm getting used to the controls, sorry. I'm telling them to chop some wood. I'm going to build a house. Well, build a couple of houses, actually. By hitting the control key, I told them to put as many men on that as I could and then reroute the remaining to the secondary site. All of the Braves are, well, within the game's lore, all of the Braves are males. The females remain invisible inside the houses. Not my fault, I'm not the one that designed the game, and since it's based around a tribal ideal, the gender thing isn't really something I can blame them for, because they're trying to remain true to that. That little blinking light means a new Brave has spawned, even though that house is empty. Houses will spawn Braves at a slow rate, but the more people you have in the house, the faster they spawn. The green bar there is the time till another Brave is born, and the red line is until the house is in need for upgrade. Raids, resting in huts are one way of creating mana. Mana gives you the power to cast spells and train followers. Gonna go ahead and fill up the houses. Also, the smokestacks will send out more or less smoke depending on how full the house is. A full house has a constant smoke stream, which you can see in those three. That one's got one follower in it. The maximum number of followers you can have is dictated by the number of houses you have, with 200 being the in-game maximum, 199 plus the shaman. There are a few ways to circumvent that using a little bit of manipulation of the game content. But the max I've ever been able to reach is like 212 or so. Actually, I'm going to send 3 people over there. On this tab, I can actually select some that aren't busy. These are idle. No wait, what are these? Oh, that's deselect. These are the idle ones who are standing around doing nothing. These are the ones in houses, and these are the ones who are working on a task. Those 3 plus those 5 being the land bridge. You've created a single shot. You've received a single shot land bridge spell. Use it to create a path from where your shaman stands to the land on which it is cast. Cast it over the weight to create a causeway. Interesting note about the land bridge spell: it is one of the spells that you will very rarely see the. Wow, that's loud. It is one of the spells you will very rarely see the AI use. I've only managed to coax the AI into using it once or twice before by manipulating the terrain rather badly. I'll go ahead and send them to the houses. Like many people, I spent more time. That's also the range indicator for spells. This is the blast spell. And you see it's recharging rather quickly. That's one of the quickest to recharge spells, and I just wasted it a bit there. Also, this is the global view. It's, well, the color's a little bit off because there's some graphical stuff I could fix by tweaking my computer settings to get the map, the global map colors correct. They're a bit overly contrasted, but the main game map is showing with the proper coloring, so I'm not really complaining there. I'm going to be a little bit of a jerk and send all 19 of them. I forgot that they do that. They're very happy to be running into that fight. And that warns me there's a fight, and the color tells me which tribe it's with. The little stars mean that he's running out of health. Okay, what I was going to say is, like many people, I spent a lot of time playing this game, probably more than I should have, to the point that I know ways to manipulate the AI of the enemies, and I know how their village setups and all work. But for the sake of the Let's Play, I am going to be playing while not abusing those things and trying to play it fairly. One example is like how I mentioned that the... Ooh, got a building. The warrior training hut. Build one to train warriors. If I stole it from them, why did they have it on an island separate from their stuff is my question. That should sink into the ground now. Yep, there it is. Case in point, like I mentioned previously, of the AI not taking advantage of the land bridge spell. One issue caused by that is the fact that I can either disconnect the landmass, my landmass from theirs, like right now. All it would take is if she casted a landmass, the shaman is a she, if she casted a landmass from here to here, and they get attacked. But it's very hard to convince the AI to actually use land bridge. Meaning you can build a wall of land around your base by connecting mountains, or create a moat in between, and they'll run to the edge of it and try to attack you, and then their pathfinding will just leave them standing there. They'll eventually run back to the center of their village and just be kind of annoyed. But like most RTS games, the general gist of their attack programming is they're set to try to make an attack on you every such and such time period with a minimum of so many units. You can also manipulate their village reconstruction, because they will not infinitely rebuild their village. They will also not infinitely grow their village, meaning you can build the land. You can either keep destroying their buildings until they give up, or give up rebuilding, shrink their landmass away and they won't regrow it, or give them a excessively large amount of landmass to work with and they won't go out of their way to utilize that space. Some of that was to prevent the AI from needlessly growing beyond their... you don't want the AI tribes just infinitely expanding across the whole map. So, a few limitations at the time, but I will be trying to play without manipulating those things and play fairly. Oh, that one only will accept... yeah, the Stoneheads will sometimes only accept one follower, or like that one says one. Sometimes you'll have them where they'll say 5 or 15 or 20. Lightning. My favorite. Lightning spell is a devastating weapon and much more powerful than Blast. It kills enemies' followers, sets fire to trees and buildings. It also has a very good range. Case in point. Woohoo! The sky is not quite supposed to flash like that, but that looks a lot more ominous that way, so I'm going to leave that in its flashing position. They, when they're threatened, they will often all gather around their shaman, which can also make their shaman a hilarious target if you can get close enough to use lightning. I really want to build that, but I have no warriors yet, and that one warrior can take down a number of braves, so not going to risk that. Everybody to the build site! I have a really bad habit of sending way too many people to do things. Also, you can press that and bring up a thing right here. In years past, I used to make a habit of playing through it while getting 0 followers lost. That takes a bit longer because it involves just using the shaman. Don't really know why I did that. It was fun. I spent a lot more time on this game than I should have, but yeah, it was always interesting to do. Yeah, you notice I've sent too many people to work on it, so they're all kind of ambling about while those 2 go get wood. Those 3, 4. How many of you went to get wood? That works. Everybody, become warriors. Also, I believe you can, let's see if I remember the key. Yeah, you can speed up and slow down the game, so for the sake of that, if you turn on cheat codes, you can increase the game speed well beyond 5 times, but there's no point in me activating the cheat codes, because then that would tempt me to use them. Overkill, thy name is warriors. Let's see. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, you can zoom in and out and do a little bit of a position changing. Be an interesting way to play from above. I'm more used to this view. I'm gonna go ahead and land bridge.
Shoka.
That makes your spells regenerate faster for a little bit. And note the enemy shaman has no reincarnation site in this map, so nobody sees this. It's totally not overkill. Everybody go after that one warrior. Warriors are basically the physical combatants. They they have very high attack, a pretty decent health pool, and they ran out of people. So, and their shaman was down, so that instantly means their tribe loses. And at the 16-minute mark too, so that's a good first episode. Then it shows you the end of the level bit, and then it brings you back to this. So you can see there's a fair number of levels, but the rest of them will be on the next time. So, see you next time.